All right, we're gonna get started here with Oliver's go home video. I apologize, place. There's some background noise. I had a dog drop off today for boarding, and he's a little vocal in the crate. However, we're gonna get things started on a leash here because we want to demonstrate to you how I want you to practice if he's giving you any trouble or if there's any difficulty in transferring over the commands from me to you. Free. We're gonna do that by using the word place for our play stay. So Oliver place is kind of like an on switch. It's like you flip on the switch of a light to turn a light on. And when we want to release him, we turn off the switch with a free. So whenever I tell him Oliver place, he needs to get on the bed and stay on the bed until told otherwise. You also will reward him on the bed if he's doing good for his play stay. Now the reverse of that, of course, is when I'm no longer wanting to be on the bed, I release him free with a free command. Freedom is its own reward. We will not incorporate a treat to the free part. We're only going to put a treat for the place part or staying. So Oliver place. When you first start off, I want you to start with the leash in hand because I want you to first start by practicing walking away. No. Place. Well, he did a good job demonstrating a failure there, but he's really been off the leash, so I don't know what caused that one on him. But the whole idea is being able to walk away while holding the leash, so that way as soon as he gets off, you can mark it no, correct him, and take him back to the bed. And again, if he does well, reward him. And followed up with, now that he's done a good stay, Oliver free. So the basis of place is just that. Making sure you get some reps in with Oliver place, rewarding him for staying there by adding some distance, and building up some duration. After you've built up some distance and duration, getting to the edge of the leash and say for at least 30 seconds he holds it, you can start graduating to dropping said leash, or like I'm gonna do later in the video, no leash at all. You can also add things in like distractions, like you can again, coax him a little, knocks at the door. There's several approaches we can take as far as the distraction, but your first goal is to make sure he understands distance and duration, that you're not just going to be holding his hand by his side and then he might be up there for a little bit longer than just that instant second. And you want to pay attention to things like if you grab the leash and he gets off before you say the word, no matter what happens, if you don't say the word free or another command, you have to mark it no, correct him, and take him back like you saw in that momentary lapse he had at the start of this part of the video. So as he gets better at doing the work of place, you can graduate from using a leash to doing it, well, without a leash, obviously. When it comes to doing it without a leash, you still want to have some way to follow through. For instance, Oliver, come here, buddy. I have a little tab attached to his collar right now. So that way, if he messes up, I can mark it no, correct him, and follow through. I'm still gonna ask him to go to the bed, so Oliver place. And then when he's on the bed, you can still reward him for making good choices. However, if he gets off the bed when leashless with whatever distance, duration, or distraction he deals with, we're gonna mark it with a NO and we're gonna correct him. Now, he might go on that soft bed. I've been teaching him on the soft and the big bed. The big bed is easier to portray how place works, but he will be able to do it on a doggy bed with just a little bit of time transferring it over. Not sure if you heard it, but I knocked at the door. I'm walking around the island, so I'm a little bit out of sight for him. I'm gonna do several different things at this point of training to show him if he stays, he gets food. However, if he gets off, I need to be able to tell him NO right away and then give him a consequence for his actions. Right now I'm going into the living room space and I'm gonna sit on the couch momentarily. I know I'm off screen, but I wanna see if that's enough bait to get him off the bed. I'm also kind of out of sight because I'm at the edge of the bed. And I'm gonna come back over because I didn't hear any noise, but the idea is simple. Add as much distance, duration, and distraction as you can. Once he's proven on leash, he can do it. The key is first making sure you show him my rules or your rules on a leash for a little bit. As he knows he's doing good, gravitate to off the leash. And remember, when you want him off the bed, the magic word is Oliver free. Gabooey. Oh, you didn't get off the way. You get stuck or you get distracted. And remember, when you're doing it off the leash, you can say it from a distance, but no matter what in my dog training, when you say the command and if he doesn't do it, you then have to follow through it. So, Oliver, place. No. Yeah, sorry, bud. And place. The idea is that, again, if he messes it up, we'll give him a consequence, which I'm not sure if it was on camera because I was kind of off to the side, but you mark it no, give him his tug, then you take him to bed, reminding him what he's doing. So just to reiterate, as we go into doing sits and downs, if he gets asked to do something like place and he doesn't do it or messes it up, it is no, tug of the leash, remind him what he's doing. And then lastly, if he does what he did there, where he like offers a different behavior, like lays down, ignores you after the no and tug, whatever, the last step is you take him back to the bed and tell him what he did wrong or what he should be doing. So the idea is kind of like in baseball. Pitch 1 is when you ask him to place. Pitch 2 is after no and tug, giving him a second chance to fix himself. And then the third strike, when he is out, is you just make him do it and you tell him what he was supposed to do instead. So we're gonna move things along here and move on to sits and downs. You're free. Oliver, free. Apparently he wants his name. All right, now I got the bed out of the way, we're gonna work on some sits. Just to mention really quick, the reason or method behind moving the bed out of the area is just simply, I don't wanna get him in trouble for accidentally doing the wrong behavior. As I'm just talking here, he's offering a sit because he knows that's what we're about to do apparently. But when it comes to play stay versus sit and down, place is the most freedom he'll ever have because he can sit down, lay down, stand up, do what he wants on the bed within reason. For a sit, it's the most rigid and it's the most, or the least comfortable position for him. So when I ask him to Oliver sit, he should sit right down. There's a little bit of delay there, but it's all good. And he can get rewarded. And then of course, just like place, Oliver free means he can stand up. When it comes to holding sit stays, oh boy. When it comes to holding the sit stays, you do want to add distance and duration to them, but understand they will never be as good as your play stays. And we don't necessarily want to expect them to hold it for 20 minutes or anything crazy like that. My whole idea though is until I say the release word, oh, nope, sit, he has to do the right thing. Now right there, my leash touched the ground. I don't know if in his head he thought that means get up, got spooked by it or what, but it didn't matter. He broke a sit, so I marked it NO, gave him that tug and asked him to sit down. Like I had already mentioned with place, if he does not sit after the NO and the tug, we will then make him do that thing. So for instance, Oliver free. If he does not sit and does not listen to NO, we will put light pressure up on the leash and he should go right into position. You're free. The idea of that light pressure is it is released as soon as his butt touches the ground. So it's slight tension upwards until butt touches ground. So remember, ask him to sit, no tug, ask again, and lastly, make him sit. By most, you should have to have said it 3 times, and by the third, he should be doing that thing. You're free, Oliver. Okay, sorry about that. I had a phone call pop up. I'm not quite sure where it cut off, but it was a spam call that happened when my ringer was on silent, so I was talking here to nobody. We're going to do leashless sits now. Oliver, sit. He like looked down at me before he did it. I don't know what that was about. You're free. I again want to apologize for the dog in the background. I didn't realize it was going to be such a problem. I might cut it and put him in the other room. I hope it's not showing up too much or ruining the video. Oliver, sit. Good boy. I did use a gesture when I was working on sit, but it isn't required. You'll see me occasionally do a gesture with it up. Good boy. It isn't a requirement though. You're free. When it comes to sit stays, it is not, as I think I mentioned in the earlier part, but the interruption might have messed me up here. It is not a comfy position, so long-term sits are a little bit more difficult or a little bit harder for him to do. However, you have the same rules of distance, duration, distraction within reason. Oliver, sit. No. Hi, just stare into the space. Thank you, sit. Just like with place, if I didn't do it in the earlier part of the video, NO, light tug, upwards, and ask him to SIT. Now, when I walk away and do distance work, just like place, if he's doing well, occasionally I'll come back and reward him, and occasionally I'll give him an Oliver free. Good boy. But the whole idea of Oliver sit, good boy, is simply that. At most, you should have to say it 3 times when you ask him, when you say NO, tug, and ask him again, and lastly, when you make him do it. Which is why this little short leash that he's been hanging on to, the little purple on his collar, super helpful when you start to go off the leash. Oliver free. Good boy. Now we're gonna move on to some downstay stuff. So I'm gonna grab the leash and just reset once again. All right, we're going at it with leashed DOWN. Now when it comes to his down command, it is simply just Oliver down. Sometimes he does need the gesture a little bit for his down. No. Down. What a way to start your downs, buddy. Sometimes he needs a little help for the downstay. However, I'm going to go right into dropping the leash on this one because it's very similar no to a sit stay. Sorry, I'm watching to see if he's ready to break again. But I'm going to skip over the leash work because it is just like sit. However, for a DOWN, your leash pressure is downwards if you do your pop, or if you hit that third strike and have to do pressure downwards. You also want to reward him on the ground between his legs rather than reaching down and reward him. Because for an example, and I'm not going to correct him for this because it's kind of mean, if I go like that, he's going to start leaning upwards and he's very likely to even go, no, down. Oh, he needs it. Okay. Light pressure down. And then help him get into position. Make sure, again, I cannot stress enough, it is light pressure. He is a very light dog. That downwards pressure should not even putting pressure really on the leash. It's just slight tension downwards. But bonus there, you messed it up, so you got to see what it looks like for us to put him into a down. Now, while he's doing his down stay or his sit stay, as I mentioned previously, I'm gonna walk around, I'm gonna knock on some stuff, might open the fridge. Don't know how much this gets into the moon. Oh, nope. Hi, buddy. You messed it up. I'm sorry. No. Down. Notice how I marked it NO right away, but I got to him and tugged before I told him to do it again. I do not like to burn out my words. I do not want to say, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. I want to minimize the amount the word is said to maximize the amount of success around saying the word. Now I'm sprinkling a bag of treats, but just like for the other stuff before he goofed it, I'm gonna go back to him. Good boy. And I'm going to reward him. And after he's eaten that reward, pardon me, I'm going to tell him FREE, and I'm going to let him get up. I'm not going to do a fully leashless version. You're free, because you kind of get the idea. Doing the leash version and dropping the leash is one step away from doing the collared version of it. It's all relatively the same thing. Now, I cannot remember if in the beginning of training, I recorded me doing the intro to recall. I just did a little bit of recalls outside where he barely wanted to leave me, so I might try to get some better footage later. But if he gives you trouble with recall, it all starts in the home. Oliver, go get it. You throw some treats away to get him to leave you. Oliver, come. Good boy. And you give him more when he gets to you. So I make sure, just like with the other things I just mentioned, that if I say COME, I'm not saying it a bunch. So once I throw the treat, if I say, Oliver, come, and he doesn't come, I'd be like, who's a good boy? Yeah. To get him back to me instead. All right, for recalls, sorry that it was really windy outside. I'm recording the voices after the fact, but when it comes to his recall, as I mentioned in the inside portion, you want to start with simple, easy to win games. Knowing he's not distracted, saying come, rewarding him for coming. Now that we're outside, it can add a lot more complication. However, for him, most of his reward-based training held up. So all you should have to do for recall, and we will troubleshoot it if it does not work this way, is simply say, Oliver, come, and he should come running back to you. So in a moment here, I'm letting him get away from me first so I can call him, and then he comes running right back to me and gets some food. The big thing about recall training versus practical use is in training, just like practical use actually, you do not want to do a million reps. He is the kind of dog that does not want to leave me, his human, which again will go back to being you, his human. He's a Velcro dog, meaning he wants to stay by our side. So in practicing recalls, you don't want to do as quick, easy reps as you might want to get done. That was some word salad. What I'm trying to say with that statement is, when he leaves you, do not call him back immediately like you're seeing in this video. I want to teach him independency. A lot of what I was doing, especially with his potty training stuff, where he did not want to poop on his own or anything like that, was teaching him to just go away. So then I can call him back to me. So if he barely leaves you, oh, hey, look, I didn't realize he was potty in my video here, but the whole idea of anything we do, that wasn't a recall, by the way, I was just rewarding him using the restroom. All I want you to do for recalls is take some time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, however much time you want to give him, but only do a couple reps. And between that, have him smell the grass, chase the butterflies, and just be a dog. I want to reinforce leaving you so you can actually call him back efficiently to you. If he's already running back to you constantly, he is not going to want to come back the one time he finds something in the world cooler than you. Now, lastly here, similar fashion, it is very windy outside, so when I went to the park to do his leash walking to demonstrate, I definitely want to record over this instead. Now, leash walking, this is going to be a couple minutes long. I'm not going to speak over the whole thing, more than likely. The whole idea of leash walking is he walks with a loose leash on your left-hand side. You'll see at various points of the video, he's going to pull ahead, fall behind, or the camera will stutter. I don't know what that's about. I'm catching that live as I'm recording this. But the whole idea is if he jumps too far ahead, too far behind, if he starts getting underfoot, I'm going to mark it with a no. I'm going to give a tug of the leash wherever I want him to go. For instance, if he pulls forward and gets ahead of me, I mark it no and pop backwards. If he goes to the left to chase that bird, I tugged a little bit back and to the right to get by my side. But the whole idea is when I say no, I tug towards my left leg. I want him to be by my left leg when walking. And you can modify that. The bigger rule I want you to make sure you follow, though, is that if he does not have a loose leash, he should be getting in trouble for that before he really pulls. The whole idea is marking it no, giving that tug, and reminding him to heel in that heel command. And outside of it, just making sure if he goes to pull you, that you do the same. You mark it no and pop towards your leg, whichever side you deem necessary. So several parts of the video, see me going around distractions, you see him get a little underfoot. And it's hard to tell in this like kind of first person point of view, but notice the pops that happen. I'm not pulling him anywhere, and when he's where he should be, it is a loose leash. I will mention this part, after he sniffed and got in trouble, I did give him a release, so he went from heel to a free, meaning he can just be a dog and do his own thing, and then I futzed with my leash a little bit because, not gonna lie, with such a small dog, the 7-foot lead I have is a little bit much, but the idea of it is, just like anything else, that light switch is kicked on with a heel, and during a heel, it is no pop and reminding him heel when he messes it up. The only difference for leash walking is you're never going to pull him back to your side. Like I mentioned with everything else, that third strike, you make him do it. Your third strike for leash walking could be an about turn. We'll go over that when we have our lesson together. But the whole idea of it is if he's pulling ahead, falling behind, bumping into your leg, is no, pop towards your left leg or towards where you want him to be, and then reminding him to heel. And remember, he does not have to be in the heel all the time, but never be okay with pulling. Always mark it no, tug, and make him heel if he is being a butt about stuff. I was showing there because he got a little futzy. There was some construction. I don't know how well it shows up, but there's plenty of geese and birds and all sorts of stuff around him, and a squirrel, I'm pretty sure, right over to the left too, that he honestly ignores and walks with me. He's not barking at him. He's not doing anything. He's just doing the right thing, except right there where he kind of walked into my leg, got kicked a little bit, did not realize that. I apologize for the dog abuse, apparently. I shouldn't be laughing about that, but right there he smelt a little wet spot. Another dog had just peed there. I marked it no, tugged him, and got him to go with me as well. And I do apologize. I don't know what the shutter speed thing is going on with my camera there, but hopefully got the gist for leash walking. I guess I did talk pretty much the whole way through. Just make sure when leash walking,